All right, Dell, if you want to go ahead and get her started, because I am sharing your content. I'm sharing your...
All right, you go ahead and
just be slow with it. Yep.
Well, hello out there, Podcast Nation. This is the Recovery Atheist, deciding to come out with a live stream right now with my buddy JR, and Brothers Live. Two Brothers Live. So here we are midweek. It's Thursday. I got one more day left of work. I decided, I'm going to put in a little bit more work in here with my boy here and see what we're going to decide to do today. Today is going to be about the stories and what happens, how people can believe stories that are said. You see it all the time, especially on Facebook, where people will post up on Facebook as a real story, and then you fact check it, and you find out it's fake. Doesn't that just piss you off? I mean, because it's like you've been fooled this entire time, and you look like an idiot when that happens, and then you go back and check it, and like, oh my God, I just was duped. Duped. So that's what we're going to talk about a bit today about is the stories that are being told that give power to things, and that can be a lot of different angles. You've got
such a great topic,
right?
Being a recovery atheist, you can just lean into all this cool shit.
Well, you can go political, you can go educational, you can go religion.
It's pretty much all of it in a nutshell.
I mean, there are so many stories that are out there that are floating around that come off as being pretty real. And the truth is they've been fabricated. Totally catfish.
Complete bullshit.
So
let's lean into that then. Yeah. So thanks for being here with us today again, Del. The one and only Del Bacon, the Recovery Atheist. So, I love this topic, fictional stories and the power of it. I had a lot of episodes where I mentioned fictional stories to like Bob Monahan, and they're like, wait, this is nonfiction. He said, this is my story. This is nonfiction. I said, actually, no, every story is fictional, because we as individuals, based on how powerful and authentic the stories that we're being told is, decide whether or not we believe it's real or not. So just like religion, like he talks about being a recovery atheist, this is why I also am not a religion guy. I'm more of a spiritual guy, is because it is religious doctrine that is a fictional story that they're selling to people that are living fearfully, lacking direction, and they're then using that to manipulate people to give them money or follow them because of their fear or because of their lack of awareness or perspective. So this is a really interesting topic, wouldn't you say, Del?
Yes, it is. It's one of those topics that when we look at it, it's I want, for me personally, I want to know what the true information is. It doesn't matter where it's coming from, what it's about. I want to know that what I'm hearing and what I'm believing in, there's truth to it. If there's no evidence to it, how do I believe in that? And there are so many people that go around day to day with certain beliefs, and being the recovery atheist, I can go about religion for sure on that go around with beliefs that have no science-based, no real-based evidence to show anything to do with that. And they go with a word that they love to use every time you ask them, well, how do you know? Well, they know by faith.
That is just blind faith. There's a difference between educated and aware and awake and non-fear and fearless and being awake. And if you're just blindly believing in bullshit because you're delusional and lack insight, perspective, and awareness and education, that is a huge red flag. And I think there's nothing more powerful than religion and money being sold to people and people spending... Look, it's the most powerful stories of all time. Mm-hmm. It's being sold to people, and they spend every minute of their life and every minute of their day just pursuing money and living by religion because they've been sold that garbage.
Right. So I was using an example. I was talking to you, JR, about this. Is like I was listening to my boy Christopher Hitchens. Sitting there talking about. Yeah, he was doing a debate with an archbishop a few years back, and they were talking about, has the Catholic Church, does it do any good for society and everything like that? And he was talking about how you can believe in a Bible that there's no real based evidence for it. Well, the Catholic Church has something called Purgatory. And it's something where you die, you go to Purgatory, and the saints will pray for you and pray you out of Purgatory, either into heaven or you won't get any prayers and you go to hell, one of the two. So he questioned the Archbishop on it, is that how can you possibly believe in a purgatory where you tell people to pay a certain amount of money to the Catholic Church, do some volunteering for the Catholic Church, and we'll make sure you get out of purgatory quicker. First off, how do they even know that they're able to do that, first off? And two, nowhere in the Bible is it mentioned anything about purgatory. This is something that is made up by the Catholic Church, but yet the Catholics will sit there and have true faith that is really the way it is.
Highly recommend the Book of Eli. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend it. It really shines a light on the power of religion and the Bible.
So when it comes down to it, how people believe and everything like that, what is reality? What is the true reality of it? Who decides what that reality is and what it represents? I know what I see for me in front of me and what my reality is and what I have to live from day to day, but it's going to be completely different from somebody else. So when we hear someone say, you don't live in reality, well, that's your reality, not mine.
Which is why I like to say that we have our perspective, and I have my perspective, and it's my most valuable tool, because when I say that, that's me trying to remove my biases and my ego. Trying. I said trying. I try. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I have ego too. But I'm saying I try to remove those biases and that ego from it and just realize that this is my experience. I'm sharing with you all, and it's my perspective. Now it's up to you guys to decide if you believe it or see it as true or authentic and powerful. That's why I share it the way I do, and I'm so passionate because it's me. It's what I am. It's what I've lived. It's what I've done. So that's why it's so much easier for me to do, but it's only my perspective. So our reality and our individual reality, we have to realize that is only ours. Like, that's where you start to realize that you can really find like unity in that, because it kind of like, once you realize that, removes ego from it and being like, my reality is right, yours is wrong. We can just start to accept that we all have different perspectives.
And that is pushed on us every day in the real world out here, in my reality anyway. If you don't believe the way I believe, then there's something wrong with you.
And
obviously.
We can't get along.
No, there's definitely a divide that happens from that.
That is ugly.
And the question I have for you is, do you have any beliefs that you look at as something you believe in or have faith in without any proof? Because I sure hell no, I don't.
No, everything I do is based in science, which completely contradicts religion. Everything I believe in is spiritual and scientific. So spiritual being, it's about working with other people, getting along, unity, and then being of service. And then being scientific within that, testing, measuring, and developing through experience and measuring quantitative and qualitative results.
Right.
There's nothing about blind faith that's incorporated, especially when it comes to business, operating, and living in life. Blind faith is ignorant faith, in my opinion, in my perspective.
Well, then let's look at that. What is faith? Okay, because you hear things like husband and wife, that they're faithful to each other. Okay, and for me, it seemed like it would be easier for me to be able to say, well, I trust my wife, rather than say, I'm faithful to my wife. She trusts me, I trust her. So here's the definition: faith is complete trust or confidence in someone or something. So there's that trust word in it.
Say that one more time.
Complete. Faith means complete trust or confidence in someone or something. So why can't we just say trust?
That's a really great correlation.
I mean, we're using a separate word. By using faith, it almost gives it a mystical sound to it, because the second definition for that was a belief in God and having faith in God. So it almost like using the faith word gives it a unknown, a supernatural context.
So now you're hitting on some amazing shit. So this is trust. Now this correlates, let me correlate this back to my show and then how it correlates to, this is why I love having him on the show, because his topic of Recovery Atheist covers fictional storytelling, which directly is about religion, because it's religion and money are the two most powerful fictional stories ever sold to us.
Yes.
And they're the ones we believe the most in and let control us the most in our actions and time. So trust. That is a key point. Where are we giving our trust and why? That's a question I ask myself and I constantly audit. It's a great idea, I'm not telling you to do anything, to audit why you're trusting someone and where you're putting your trust. Because ultimately, the majority of businesses and the majority of stories being sold on media and outlets, which is why we're doing what we're doing to try and bring better to these outlets, is garbage. They're using media, the written word, photo, and video, to manipulate people that lack awareness, perspective, and education, to manipulate them to vote a certain way and spend their money a certain way, keeping control of you. It's all about earning your trust, and people are all sold on all of it. So start thinking about why you're trusting what you trust. Why? Why do you trust what you trust?
Well, and if you look at the word trust, the meaning of that is a firm belief in the reliability, truth, ability, or strength, or something. So in other words, it has more fact, evidence-based meaning when you say the word trust. I trust that if I go to work every day, that I'm going to get a paycheck on Friday when it's payday. I trust that. When it doesn't go that way, obviously, that pisses me off. But for the most part, they have not proven to me any other way, one way or the other, that I'm not going to get a check. So I trust it that there's going to be a check there. I trust it that there's going to be a sun that's going to rise in the morning. If it doesn't, I guess, oops, I was wrong that day. But for the most part, over the billions of years that this planet has been going, that sun continues to come up. I have trust in that.
So trust is a verb, to believe. If you believe in something or someone, then you have confidence in them. To gain trust, we must be believable so that another individual will have confidence in our ability to keep our word, do our part, and follow through on our expectations set.
Right.
So right there's a direct correlation between that and business. If you want to have success, you need to be able to communicate and gain trust with your audience. And ultimately, that's why you have to be able to use these platforms that we're using to share your value to gain that trust. And that's why it's super interesting to correlate all of this from religion, money, and business to how you can overcome the bullshit fictional stories that people are selling you on all of these news channels and outlets to get you to vote a certain way and to buy a certain way. So that's why we want to have people like us come together and start sharing our realities and truths, because then we can all come together and overcome all of these bullshit stories.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want someone saying they have faith in me.
No, I would rather have someone say they trust.
I would rather have someone say, I trust you. Like last night, me and your brother Isaac were talking about something at the house, and he says, you know what, I trust you. And do you know how good that made me feel? To know that I have Isaac's trust that way. It made me feel like there's good things that I am doing and he has a belief in me. And I cherish that. I'm grateful for that. With faith, it's kind of like it's all up in the air.
And a big correlation, if you Google it, between trust and building that trust that you built there with that relationship is making ourselves vulnerable, which is why sharing our story is so valuable, because it's making me vulnerable. And then you start to realize that I am being real, authentic, and truthful to my story, and sharing that I've been through an addiction, I've been through jail, I've been through the court system, I've been through my mom dying on New Year's Day, I've been homeless and on the streets. If I shared all my scars and my weaknesses with you, how is there any way that you won't be able to realize that I'm being truthful and honest? In sense, building and generating that trust, which you obviously have done with Isaac through action.
Without doubt.
And it comes from action and doing and sharing our value and being real. But that's beautiful, man. I think that's a great way of correlating all this is trust. And it's cool to lean into how that's built and realize how powerful religion is. Like, it's just impressive to me when you think about that. Like, how everyone's sold on religion and everyone's sold on money. It's just amazing.
Well, you say that, but then again, I look at how people are sheep when it comes to the media outlets.
But that's why we're doing what we're doing.
Right. I want to talk about that for a second.
Great
okay,
point.
Whether or not you're a Fox News person, which is obviously Roger Murdoch or Robert Murdoch or whatever, the owner of Fox, very Republican, right-wing conservative. You can do MSNBC, which is more of the left-wing side. You've got, the news we get, if you don't realize that they are paid to put on that channel and report what they need to report from their angle, whatever it is, then you don't know what's going on in the world. I mean, the truth is everything that we watch, especially with news, it happens with social media as well, that stories get twisted and get made into a way that will correlate and work for whatever side or whatever angle that is going to work for them to benefit them.
Manipulation.
Oh, it's total manipulation. Total. I hate watching the news half the time because most of it is just garbage.
I've been blessed ever since moving to Hawaii. I have literally flushed out consuming content. I literally only consume Gary Vee's content. Otherwise, I'm creating.
Yeah.
Which is a great topic to think about in correlation to that point.
Yeah.
Is I don't consume that garbage. I only consume stuff that's bringing me educational insight to what I want to do and pursue for my career and my passion. Like
Right.
Gary Vee does what we're doing, and I consume him. Other than that, I'm all go ahead on creative and how I can bring content to the marketplace that helps
Right.
people. So that's an interesting
So
point.
yeah, so if they're not going to report the news, that's real, and why would I want to fill myself in my head with all that stuff when it's not real in the first place? I would rather listen to people that have some factual base to them, and also be able to podcast like we're doing and web stream and all that, and get that out there, because I'll tell you this right now, Podcast Nation, I'm authentic. What comes out of my mouth is the way I believe. This is not something that I'm just doing to try to pump up a certain view or a certain angle. This is how I live with myself day to day. And if I can't do that, I can't live with myself. So be authentic out there. Truly look at what you're hearing and what you're believing in, and actually, like JR said, take an audit of it and go, does this make sense? Because
100%.
I guarantee you will find that there's a lot of stuff where 2 and 2 don't make 4. And that's where I'm at today. That's what happened with religion. That's what happened with politics for me. Religion, definitely. When I started putting 2 to 2 together and started really investigating that Bible, I get it all the time. Boy, you sure know that Bible really well. You sure read that Bible a lot. Are you a closet Christian? You sure read that Bible a lot. Of course atheists read the Bible a lot, because we want to be able to argue it and show you exactly where it's wrong. In fact, when it comes down to it, I guarantee you that dusty little Bible that's sitting on someone's book table that's supposedly a Christian, yeah, I'm going to know a lot more that's going on in that book than them. They're only taking bits and pieces of it to whatever their reality is, and trusting and believing that that's the way, God is represented and that's the way real life is. Do some investigation.
So great topics here: faith, trust, the definitions, and then touching right into the next great topic that we wanted to touch on was, what was that, Del? You wanted to touch on fictional stories?
Yeah. So, I tell my stories all the time, right? About how my life is and the experiences I've had and what I've done. We've talked about this, that when I tell you one of my experiences, unless you experienced it as me, you can't even stand next to me and experience it the same way I did. It's your own.
I think this is a great point, and I'm gonna try and bring value to people.
Yeah, break it down for us. So
it's correlation to what we talk and do a lot about here is fictional storytelling in a powerful, authentic fashion via the written word, audio, and video. And that's how we share our authentic truths. My brother shares his, I share mine, he shares his, and we come together and share it as a whole. And that is how we then try and show you that through our experience that we've gained that knowledge. But my key thing I want to touch on is the only 2 ways that you can consume knowledge is either, like he's saying, through one of these outlets. You either have to overcome fear and insecurities and experience it for yourself, which is difficult. I'll guarantee you won't want to experience the Kentucky jails like I have, the homelessness, the death.
It's nasty, man.
No one would want to go that path. So if you don't want to take that risk, and you don't want to go through that challenging times and those challenging roads, then so that's fear and insecurities keeping you from taking those risks and doing those things. Then you are going to have to find a way to overcome ego, fear, and insecurities to take that knowledge from someone that has it. So those are the 2 ways. Am I going to listen to someone like Gary Vaynerchuk or someone else that's been through what I haven't been through, and they have that empiricism experience through doing and experiencing those things, and then they have that knowledge from doing it and experiencing it. Am I going to learn from them and take direction in an egoless fashion? Like, oh, they might know more than me. I'm going to absorb that, and then I'm going to move forward with that. Or if you don't do that, you're going to have to go out there and start overcoming fear and insecurities to start taking those risks, putting yourself in those different environments and arenas to experience those things and fail and have success, and then move forward with more knowledge and insight and experience. Right. But if you're not going to do one of those, you're just sitting in between, you're in limbo. You're not like moving forward, growing. You're just like swinging back and forth of doing neither, and you're just sitting there wandering through life. You're not like truly like, do you see what I'm saying there, Del?
Yes, definitely, without a doubt. Like, I don't know. For me, it's like knowledge is what I crave. Okay, so if there is something,
I think we all do naturally.
Right. If there's something that I hear and it kind of takes me off. Like I heard the other day that there are flying snakes now.
Flying snakes, or like how when Joe Rogan talked about like that spot, like they're making like bulletproof skin and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, the shit's bizarre.
There's flying snakes. I heard it. I was at the barber the other day getting my hair cut, and one of the barbers was talking about it. I'm like, no way, that can't be real. Looked it up. Sure enough, in Southeast Asia, there are snakes that fly from tree to tree. They glide. They don't necessarily fly, but they are in the air. And it's like, oh my God, I cannot believe that we have flying snakes. It's like 2020 has been such an interesting year for new things that have happened. But no, I mean, it's okay. This is another thing I just want to touch on. It's okay for someone to have more knowledge than me.
100%. That's ego, though, brother. Because if we can't say that, that's like us wanting to be the biggest dog in the pen.
Exactly.
Like, there's tons of people out there with more experience than me.
Without a person that has more experience and more knowledge than me, then how am I going to grow?
How am I going to grow? And how am I going to take knowledge from other people that I haven't doing the shit that I've never done?
My fantasy is being able to just have a dinner with Neil deGrasse Tyson.
And then I'll join you, and I'll have Gary Vaynerchuk as my guest.
And that's cool. And we'll just sit there. I could listen to Neil deGrasse. He would blow my mind with his Cosmo talk.
And I would love to listen to both of him. I would agree. I would want to be there.
I mean, so definitely.
Maybe y'all could join us.
If you feel like you're sitting in a rut and nothing is changing, nothing is moving on, press yourself. Challenge yourself to move forward and do something that you don't think you can do.
So he's touching on another amazing point, stagnant and stuck. Correlating this with addiction and moving forward and growing. So listen, if you're in between winning and losing dreams, there's no dreaming in between winning and losing. That's your comfort zone. And when you're stagnant and stuck, I've dealt with addiction, so I understand. It's like I made no progress when I'm addicted to drugs. I'm in one spot. I don't feel like I'm going anywhere in life or growing in any way, so I'm miserable, fucked up, and high. So then I realized through that experience that if you're stagnant and stuck, you're not growing. And we're naturally, as a species, supposed to evolutionize and grow. So if we're not putting ourselves in uncomfortable, new, challenging situations, we are stuck and stagnant. And that is not healthy. It is a huge red flag. That if I'm stagnant and stuck in life and I feel like my work isn't being rewarded or my time is being wasted and I'm going nowhere and I'm just not getting ahead, I'm not happy.
No.
I'm not healthy. I'm consuming drugs. To me, there's a direct correlation between being stuck and stagnant and like addiction.
All right, I'm going to get a little real here. Do you have a dream podcast station?
Podcasting.
Is there something out there that you've been wanting to do or try for years and years and years?
We know everyone has that.
What's stopping you? I've always wanted to podcast. I've always wanted to do something like this, and I've put it off for years and years. Of course, some of that was stuck inside a vodka bottle, which is not good.
Bringing us right back to that stagnant and stuck.
But I was scared to do this. I didn't know where to go, how to get it started. And then all of a sudden I decided one day, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to start looking into what I have to do to achieve this.
Overcoming your fear and insecurities.
You can do anything that you're wanting to do in life. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be easy.
And it doesn't mean society doesn't want to beat you down and think that you can't.
Or say that, that ain't going to work. Oh, no,
you can't do that.
You're going to fail at it.
Come on, what? We're powerful. And the most powerful species ever.
You know what? How do I know whether I'm going to fail or not unless I try?
Dude,
That's the question. What is it going to hurt you to try?
We're the most powerful species ever. Just so you're aware. Google it. So we're capable of amazing things. We've gone to the fucking moon. We've broke the atom.
You're saying the Neanderthal wasn't the...
No, the human species is the most dominant species of all time.
Dinosaurs weren't?
But remarkable things we've done. Society has told us that we can't do shit. He's so right.
We're told about that every day.
You're not good enough. You're not muscular enough.
We watch TV and we see all these beautiful people with their 8-pack abs. Not 6-pack anymore. It's 8-pack.
If you're a guy, you're not muscular enough.
No,
you're
not
enough.
manly enough. You're not masculine. If you're a woman,
you're not thin enough.
You're not pretty enough. You know, when it comes to work, you're not making enough money. You're not doing all this and that.
Well, we're here to tell you that's bullshit.
It's bullshit. The American dream is whatever we decide it's going to be.
100%. And it's so, and the fact that people think it's dead is bullshit. There's abundance in America. There's so much chance. So I think this is an amazing content and stuff that we're bringing people. This is the shit I believe in. You guys totally can do it. I've done it. Look, we're doing this. I've done this with very little. So you can do this. It is possible. You have the tools. Humans are one of the most powerful species of all time. They are incredibly valuable. They're the most underestimated intangible asset that exists in the world is our humans in this place. We can use fictional stories to communicate. We can communicate and use communication to share our realities and create new fictional stories like the internet, like technology, like religion, like money, and like the government. We've created all of this and we've built all of it.
And we're doing it together.
We can't do it alone.
That's the biggest thing. If it wasn't for JR and some of the people that have helped me through these last few months, and I would not be where I'm at today. But guess what? It didn't happen by not going out and trying. It didn't happen by me just keeping my mouth shut and isolating and not doing it and not going out on fear. I have fear. Everybody deals with fear. But that's what life is we're here to have victory over those fears.
So I'm going to wrap this up. We'll do another episode. We're going to go live here again shortly. Dell has an appointment in a meeting here shortly with someone, but we're going to be right back on. Just tune in again. But we want to wrap this up. I'm going to wrap it up by saying consumer trust. I'm going to correlate it all back to gaining the consumer's trust and then focusing on consumer advocacy. Everything from the consumer's point because you're consuming our content.
Yes.
We do this to advocate, educate, and bring insight to the consumer. That's you. We want to bring you power. We want to empower you. We want to bring you the tools necessary to have success and start pursuing your dreams and passions for profit and overcome these fictional stories like religion and money, government and politics that have beat us down and given us these views that we can't do shit. You can do shit, and that's why we're here coming to you, creating this content, sharing this with you via media. And then we do that via authentic, vulnerable fashion because we know that to build consumer relationships and consumer trust, you have to have consistent, healthy, trustworthy dialogue and unbiased information. And we're bringing that directly to you. And this is our stories. We're being vulnerable and we're being real. And we're here to help. So that's why we're here. That's why we're doing what we're doing. And let's overcome this bullshit of fictional storytelling that the government and all these places sold us.
Oh, right on.
Right?
Right on, man. I mean, it's... Let's stop worrying about all that other stuff out there that's distracting us and pulling us away from what we really can be doing with our lives. We're wasting so much time on that. So much time. So let's challenge ourselves today. Not just you out there, but
we're doing it.
We do it too.
Right now, every day we do it.
We're right here with you in the trenches doing
making
the same
ourselves
thing.
Vulnerable.
So get vulnerable, get authentic, challenge yourself to have what you're wanting in life, and just go and get it.
And reach out to us if you
reach out to us.
We'd love to work together. Come in, start a show.
We love working with people that are like-minded, determined, and want to have something out of life, that beautiful thing called happiness and joy.
So once again, your attention is our oxygen, and we greatly appreciate your attention and loyalty and brand interaction. Thank you very much.
Bye, everybody.
We'll be back in a few minutes. Killer content, brother. That was 5-star shit there. That was amazing, dude.